All right, this is my Hyundai Santa Fe Highlander. I just picked her up from the detailer today, and I had some ceramic coating applied, also a dash cam, and the windows tinted. What I wanted to do today was go over a bit of the differences between the Santa Fe Highlander and the Santa Fe Calligraphy in the United States. So they're both the top of the line trims. Highlander, top of the line trim for the Australian market. Calligraphy, the top of the line trim for the US market. So from the outside, there's really no differences out here. It's the same wheels, same size wheels, are 20-inch. The main difference is going to be with the spare tire. So in the US market, they don't have a spare tire, and we do. We have a full spare tire, but it is underneath the vehicle. But it's nice, and we also have the third row, which I'll show you in a bit. So you're looking at the 2.2 turbo diesel. So the H-track system being the drive system. And then in our market, the top of the line trim of Highlander here, we get a Highlander badge on our trim level. In the US, they don't put one, but again, it's only for the Highlander trim. So get a good look at the outside of the vehicle, and I think what we'll do is jump in and have a look at that third row. All right, so you're looking at the second row here of the Santa Fe, and as you can see, you got the third row. So that's definitely a difference between the US market and the Australian market, is they don't get a third row. I'm not going to jump back there because the third row is meant for kids, really. So if you're a family where you drive a kid around and they're going to have some friends, you're going to take them somewhere, then you got the third row for that. So it's not a third row for the lifestyle of having a large family. It's more of a convenience type of third row. So it works out, and I'll be putting that third row down, and that's the way it will normally be, is down, but you got the option there. Another thing in the US market is, well, not in the US market, but in the Australian market, is with the diesel and the petrol variant, you can only get a second row bench. The hybrid, you can get the second row in the captain's seats. So since I have the diesel, my only option is the bench seats, and I quite like them. They're nice. I could do captain seats, but if I need a few people around, it's nice that no one's being forced to jump in the back unless I need to. So another difference here, just covering real quick, you'll notice that I have pockets in the back of both the driver's seat and the passenger seat. In the US market, only one of the seats has pockets. The other difference here, and this is only a difference I've seen in the Australian market, I don't know how it is in the New Zealand market, but in the Australian market, we don't have a power outlet in between those two USB ports on the back. So that is a bit of a difference. We do have your shades here to provide some shading from the sunlight. So that's on both sides. And what we'll do now is just jump into that driver's seat and see what type of differences that we see in the driver's seat. All right, so we're in the driver's seat now, and everything's pretty much the same. The few differences that I'll lay out are in here in this center cluster column area. And the one difference you're going to see, it's not going to be because of US market versus Australian market. It's going to be more toward the diesel variant. With the diesel variant, the engine auto stop when you come to a stoplight put the brakes on and the engine stops. That's not there. So in the diesel, our engines are not going to be starting and stopping all the time. They just run all the time. We have everything else that they have in the US market as far as controlling of the drivetrain and the cameras and the parking system goes. We got the heated and cooled seats. Now, up here in the climate control section, so the center section is your climate control, we have right here, that's the AC for that third row. So if you have a third row passenger, and if someone in the third row turned on the AC and left it on, you can turn it off from here. The US market doesn't have a third row, so this button ends up becoming a driver-only climate control, which I think is really neat. So if I was in the US market, and the button might not be here, but this is definitely taking place of that, and it would be somewhere in this area, I can push that, and then the AC system is only geared toward the driver, and it's not using the other vents in the vehicle. That's a really neat option. One thing I do like about this Santa Fe that I didn't know I liked so much, this off button for the climate control. that button right there fully disables all the blowing. So sometimes in a car you may turn the blowers down all the way and try to turn the AC off, but there's always something coming through. You hit that and there's nothing, and I like that a lot. Up here is the navigation system. This isn't a difference between the US market and the Australian market, but just something I think is really cool that I wanted to lay out. When I got the car, the volume knob was on this side, and driving on the right hand side, it'd be nice to have the volume over here. So reading the owner's manual and then playing with it, I actually found out that you can swap those in software. So in software, I was able to swap it, and now this is the volume knob and this is the channel selection knob. So if you have a Santa Fe and you haven't done that, I suggest you do that. Of course, using the steering wheel volume controls is quite easy, and that's what I normally do, but I do like the fact that I could swap those. Another thing I've done is with the third row, and I don't know if they have this in the United States, but with the third row and that push to project your voice to the third row, I have assigned that function to this star button here. So it's great because even the people in the second row can hear you really good. So I push this, and then it starts projecting my voice back there, and then I push it again, and then it stops projecting my voice over there. So really good. Another thing is we do have the train modes here. So I believe in the US, all they have is the drive modes, and then if you push this button, it does a differential lock. Here, if you push the button, you also change your terrain mode. So that's good. I have adopted this little device here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some blue tack and I'm going to secure it just like that, because my phone fits in there perfectly, and that's going to provide me with wireless CarPlay. And I've been using it. It works pretty good. The only problem I had is I made an outbound call and I couldn't get any audio. And what I found out is before I make a call, if I just unplug it and plug it back in, the outbound audio works just fine. The inbound audio always works. So if I know I'm gonna make an outbound call, I just disconnect it, connect it, and then it's good to go. So probably something to do with it starting up with that device connected that screws up the audio, but there is a workaround, and it's not too hard. So I think we've pretty much covered the differences of the Calligraphy trim versus the Highlander trim here in Australia. What I'll do now is we'll go have a look at the rear and put those rear seats down. Okay, here we are in the rear. So I have my rubber cargo mat rolled up so I can have the third row. So if we look back in the third row, you can see it's not a whole lot of leg room. Now, we have found that if you slide the second row to the center section, there is still plenty of room. Sorry about all the traffic. There is still plenty of room for the person in the second row, like your knees are not touching. There's still quite a bit of leg room, even with them up to the second position. And when you move that up to the second position, then you could probably fit an adult back here without their knees touching. The reason why I say it's not made for adults is there's hardly any toe clearance under there, and the seats are quite low. So with the seats being close to the floor, your knees are up high, and it's not going to be comfortable for a long drive. So again, if your family is a size where you would need a third row all the time, you want to get the Palisade. If the third row is something that you may use once in a while, the Santa Fe is a great choice. So let me just push that forward. Push this one forward. And then I can take these and strap them in. So in the US market, there would be storage under there. Here, there's seats under there, so we don't get no storage right there. Just put my cargo mat down. And that's it. So the spare tire in this thing, just lift my mat up here. So the spare tire, there's going to be, I won't get to it now, but that's the blind for the coverage, and then there's the jack and everything down there. And when you lift all that up, there's like a little lug nut here that you loosen it, and it drops the tire all the way to the ground, so the tire is underneath the car, but it is a full size spare. And amazing enough, our hybrid variant also gets the full size spare. So there's a lot of hybrids out there that don't get any spare tire at all. They get a tire repair kit. We actually get a full size spare, and it matches your car. So if you got the 20-inch, you get a 20-inch spare. If you got the 19s, get the 19. So that's great. And then with this third row, you can see here, the third row has climate control. So the person sitting back here can turn their AC on and off, and then adjust the AC. They get a blower, they get a USB port, and there's a blower here. So there you have it, my 2023 Santa Fe Highlander. So far, I am really enjoying this car. Not a whole lot of complaints, and hopefully you've enjoyed the video and learned something between the two markets.